Hey guys, welcome back. Tonight we're drifting into something a little older, a little dustier, and honestly, a little unsettling if you think too hard about it. So don't. Just let it wash over you. Go ahead and dim the lights, adjust your pillows, maybe wrap yourself in that blanket that you definitely didn't fold earlier. Just settle in. Because tonight, we're gliding into the lost civilizations that vanished without a trace. Not with any urgency. No dramatic archaeologists running in with hats and whips. Just a slow, gentle wander through human history's more confusing dead ends. These are the societies that rose, thrived, built things they absolutely should not have been able to build with the tools they had, and then quietly evaporated. Like they saw the responsibilities of existing and said, "Yeah, no, we're good," and wandered off into the void. So take a long breath. We're not solving any mysteries tonight. We're just observing them, sleepily, from a distance, like a tired museum ghost. Let's begin with one of the classics. One of the civilizations that basically invented the phrase, "Wait, what happened to them?" The Nabateans, the masters of vanishing elegantly. Let's begin by slowly wandering through the desert. Picture soft sand dunes, a late sunset glowing with that dusty orange warmth that makes you feel like you've been dehydrated for 3 lifetimes. And somewhere in all of this, carved into sheer red cliffs, is the ancient city of Petra. You know Petra. The dramatic facade, columns that look like they were designed by someone who said, "I want Greek architecture, but make it extremely vibey." That iconic treasury building where every tourist takes the exact same picture. The Nabateans built that. And then, of course, they disappeared, as lost civilizations do. But before they vanished, they were very good at being mysterious desert overachievers. The Nabateans were traders, water engineers, carvers of extremely photogenic stone buildings. They controlled desert trade routes long before camel caravans were boring. And somehow, in one of the driest regions in the world, they developed a water management system so efficient it worked better than half the modern plumbing in my apartment. They had secret pipes carved into cliffs, hidden reservoirs deep inside mountains, cisterns that filled themselves using natural flash floods, because why not turn your annual climate hazard into a convenient hydration system? But here's the fun part. For a people who produced such intricate engineering, they left behind almost no written records. Like they woke up one morning, looked at their entire alphabet, and said, that seems like a lot of effort. So historians have to piece together their story from outside sources. Romans talking about them, Greeks complaining about them. Random inscriptions left on rock walls that basically say, Nabateans were here, and then nothing else. At their peak, Petra was one of the richest cities in the ancient world. It was basically Dubai, before Dubai, minus the indoor ski resort. But then, over time, trade routes shifted, empires changed, and the Nabateans just declined. Quietly, softly, like someone slowly lowering the volume on an ancient civilization. By the 4th century, Petra was practically empty. Eventually, travelers wandered through the ruins like, that's weird. Who carved all of this? And the Nabateans never stood up from behind the rocks like, surprise, we're still here. They were simply gone. No dramatic collapse, no fiery destruction, just a slow fade out like the world's most ancient Irish goodbye.
Let's float away now, across the desert, across the sea, into jungles thick enough to swallow entire kingdoms, the Khmer Empire.
The jungle that took back a kingdom. Now, picture humid air. The kind that sticks to your skin and makes every breath feel like you're inhaling warm soup. Dense green vines curling around ancient stone towers. Faces carved in stone looking down with that serene expression that says, "Yes, I see everything. I judge nothing. But also, I might collapse at any moment." This is Angkor, capital of the Khmer Empire, once home to nearly 1 million people at a time when most European cities were lucky to scrape together 10,000. 1 million! In the middle of the jungle, running one of the most complex hydraulic engineering systems ever built. And then, like someone flipped a switch, they vanished. But before we drift into the mystery, let's appreciate how absurdly impressive they were. The Khmer Empire built massive reservoirs called barays, artificial lakes so large they could drown several modern cities without trying. They built temples upon temples, Angkor Wat being the glamorous celebrity among them. Covered walkways, intricate carvings, towers shaped like lotus buds, staircases so steep you practically need climbing gear. Angkor Wat alone used more stones than the Great Pyramid. Let that float softly into your sleepy mind. This was a civilization that worked with precision. They managed water flow like they were playing SimCity on expert difficulty. They used reservoirs to control floods, grow rice year-round, and keep their economy humming like a polite, well-oiled machine. But then, something shifted. Or several things. Climate change, droughts, floods, internal conflict, external invasions, possibly all at once. The jungle began creeping in. Vines slipped through cracks. Roots lifted stones. Monkeys probably threw small, judgmental fruits from above. And the people slowly left, moved to new cities, changed political centers, rebuilt elsewhere. Angkor didn't fall with flames. It simply became a place the jungle liked better than humans did. By the time Europeans rediscovered it in the 19th century, despite the fact that locals never forgot it existed, it looked like a myth, a stone city swallowed whole. The Khmer didn't vanish entirely, of course. Their descendants are everywhere in Cambodia today. But the empire, the capital, that world of waterworks and monumental temples, gone. Like a dream you can't quite remember. Let's drift again, now toward the sea, toward islands, toward people who built Muay statues so large it makes you wonder who looked at a boulder and thought, yes, let's carve a face. That seems relaxing. Rapa Nui, the islanders who built giants. Rapa Nui, or Easter Island, is one of the most isolated inhabited places on Earth. Just a tiny volcanic dot in the middle of the Pacific. Far from everything, far from everyone. And yet, centuries ago, the people of this island created one of the most visually bizarre cultural legacies in human history, the Moai. Those huge stone heads, stoic, silent, like giant ancestors staring into the distance, pretending they're not concerned about the whole disappearing civilization thing. Now, the people of Rapa Nui didn't vanish entirely, but their society did collapse in a way that historians still argue about. For a long time, Western narratives claimed they destroyed themselves by cutting down all their trees to move the statues, a sort of ancient environmental horror story.
But that turned out to be a bit dramatic, like most Western theories about remote islands. More recent studies suggest they practiced sustainable forestry for centuries. They may have even used ingenious rope techniques to walk the moai upright, like giant stone toddlers learning to wobble forward. But something did go wrong. European contact brought disease. Slavers raided the island. Ecological changes happened. Social systems broke apart. The civilization shrank. The traditions faded. And many of the moai were toppled, likely during internal conflicts. Today, Rapa Nui is still inhabited. Its culture survives. But the ancient society that carved and moved hundreds of statues, each weighing as much as a small whale, quietly disappeared. Not with explosions, not with cataclysm, just a soft collapse under the weight of time, pressure, and outsiders. The moai stand as reminders, silent, still, like they're waiting for someone to explain what happened, even though no one really can.